Hello guys, welcome to another fabulous, fantastic episode on Barbie's Diary. My name is Barbara Omodudu, and as usual, I film about family, career, lifestyle, and all things relocation, settling in a new city. How are you all doing? This is just an offshoot from two videos I have shot before now. One is how I passed my knowledge tests, as well as the second video on how I failed my road test and later passed it. So I'm going to leave those two videos in the description box below. Please do well to watch those videos and watch this as well. It's a conclusion of that entire process, giving you what I found insightful, things that I did that possibly would help you in your own knowledge test as well as your road test. If you know of anyone that this video is going to be of help to, please do well to share this video with them. And yes, let us start right away. So guys, for those that do not know, let me just give you a brief background of my story. We relocated to Canada in September of 2022, and in October of that same year, I took the knowledge test. I have my book here with me, guys. So in case I'm looking down, please just know that I am trying to remember all the points that I've taken down. I do not want to forget anything of importance. So the knowledge test, like you may already know, is the first test that you will take if you intend to drive in Canada. This is a test you will take before getting any class of license in Alberta. And yep, I need to also mention that I'll be speaking specifically about the province of Alberta because that is where I reside and that is where I took my test and that is where I have the most information about. So please do more research about other provinces, but I'm sure that there are other tips and bits in this video that will be useful as well, or that serves as a benchmark for other provinces. So please keep watching. I went to the registry and then I was asked a number of questions. I was asked to also submit my driver's license from my home country, which I did. And I'll tell you the importance of submitting that. With that, you abridge the time when you can take the road test. So usually after getting your class 7, you have to wait 1 year before you take the road test. But because you already drive from your home country and because you already have your license, which they're going to check and validate the originality of that license. So please don't submit a fake license. And then they can abridge the time and then you can immediately take your exams as early as 2 weeks after your knowledge test. No matter how much or how best you know how to drive from your home country, you should understand that with every new place you come to, the rules and regulations and the mode of doing things are different. And so you have to understand what it is like to drive in Canada. I was able to prepare for my road test using a couple of materials and resources that are provided for you by the province as well as online resources. So I used past questions that has been compiled. I think it usually comes in about 100 or 120 questions. But for the test purposes, you will only be given 30 questions and you're only required to pass 25 of those questions. So, I mean, if you prepare with 120 questions, best believe that you should have covered all the major areas where questions will be coming out from, and be sure that, you would get questions that you've already rehearsed on. Whilst we're trying to settle in, we also started actively preparing for our knowledge test. So I took the knowledge test in October of last year. And like you already know, I passed. I had said in that video that I was going to tell you guys the method I used in ensuring that I passed at first attempt and I got all my questions correctly. So guys, this is me 1 year later fulfilling that promise. You do not need to book the test. You just do a walk-in. I had prepared very well using all the resources, one of which is the online resources Alberta government has put together for this purpose. And then I was also revising using YouTube videos. So I got to registry that day, made payments for the test, and then they took me into the testing room. Then you get 30 questions. You get a pass mark if you pass 25 of those questions. Now, for every question you pass, you know immediately that you have passed it. So there's no hanky-panky. If you press the correct answer, it says you're correct. You have 1 out of 30. So the models I use, which I think is really smart, was I ensured that all the questions I answered first were the questions I was so sure of, 21 in number. So anytime I see a question I was not so sure of, I did not bother to answer it at all. And if you do not answer it, it kind of banks up for you back end. So I had 9 questions I had not answered. And the reason I did it this way was because I did not want that pressure of in my bid to answer everything. As the questions were coming, I had failed like four. Maybe the questions that I knew so well would have been there and I did not see them. So I said, you know what? I'll make sure that I see the entire 30 questions. I answer the ones I am sure of, then I gamble with the rest. And that was exactly what I did. So I did not have the pressure because I've answered 21 I knew. 4 questions, I did them immediately and I got them. The remaining 5 questions just went off the screen. So it just told me that I had passed because there was no need to go on because I had gotten 25 over 30. So I saw the 30 questions that was given to me, but I only answered 25, and that was the 25 I got. That was the mode I used, and it worked well for me. And yeah, I like I promised you guys I was going to tell you what I did. So that was what I did. So after the knowledge test, I was excited, came out of the testing room, and I told the lady at the counter that I had passed. They requested for me to make payment for my class 7 driver's learners license. So that was what I did. I made the payment. I did the vision test. The vision test is just to test your vision, where they get to test you if you can see some letters, if you can see some numbers, and if you can see some lights flashing to your left and your right. They'll take your passport photograph immediately, and then you sign off, and then they'll tell you that they will get back to you with your class 7 learner's driver's license. You get it in the mail. Like, I was pumped to take the road test, and I kid you not, it took me one whole year to take the road test. I have no idea why that happened. There are some other things I would need to state at this point. My note is here with me. So you cannot have 2 licenses, right? From another country and Alberta, you cannot have 2 licenses. So you have to exchange your home country's license for your Alberta driver's license if you are going to be a permanent resident. No, I'm not talking of PR. So if you are going to be permanently resident in Alberta, then it means that you need to exchange that license, and the time frame to exchange that license is 90 days of becoming a resident. So 90 days of becoming a resident in Alberta, you need to exchange that license for Alberta driver's license. If you are coming from a country that has a reciprocal driver's license exchange agreement, like the US, like the UK, like some other nationalities, they have that reciprocity, meaning that once you come here, you just show them that this is your driver's license from your home country, and then they exchange it for you for Alberta driver's license. However, if you are coming from a country that does not have that driver's license exchange agreement, then you will go through the ropes of taking the knowledge test, surrendering your current valid driver's license from your home country, and of course taking the road test. And that's what we did because my home country does not have that reciprocity with Canada. That if you're a visitor from another jurisdiction, like a student, or you are on a visitor's visa and you want to drive in Canada, then you need to have an international driver's permit. It's called an IDP, as well as your valid license from your home country. That way you'll be able to drive the class of license that is approved from your home country. That would make the officials know that, okay, this is the class of license you are approved to drive in your home country. Please feel free to walk to a registry and make your inquiries so that you are not caught up in the wrong side of the law. I had surrendered my Nigerian license. I've also dropped my driver's extract, which has just shown the driving history from when I started driving, how long I've driven, the class of license I've had, and all of those good stuff. They took that in, and that accelerated my process of taking the class 5. Ideally, for eligibility to get the license for class 5, you need to have had the class 7 driver's license, as well as you must have driven for at least 1 year. So you must have driving experience of 1 year. However, because I had this history from my home country and I had a valid license from my home country, they were able to abridge the time. That's why it's important to come in with these 2 important documents from your home country. So they were able to abridge the time, and I was eligible to take the class 5 road test as quickly as 2 weeks after my knowledge test. When I had made up my mind that I was ready to take the road test, I started actively preparing for it. How did I prepare? There is the driver's handbook, which Alberta as a province has come up with, that contains all the traffic rules and regulations, all the traffic safety laws, everything you need to know about driving in a province, and it is well detailed. I also paid an external experienced driver. I took classes and learned how to drive. I also watched YouTube videos, and one of that video, this is not a sponsored ad, but that video really blessed me a lot, is Zutobi driver's ed, especially the instructor Jacqueline. She's so good, so soft, teaches so well. Another thing is practicing practically. Drive while my husband is sitting beside me and he'll teach me. His friend also taught me on a number of occasions, went through the route, the driving route, and this I did continuously. When I felt comfortable enough to take the test, I booked for my first test on the 2nd of October 2023. I had rented the vehicle from the registry. I didn't want to use our vehicle. I just felt the process for using your own vehicle was tedious. They would just provide the vehicle for you, and I got to pay an extra $75 for the vehicle I had chosen. So I just paid. On the day of the test, I got ready, my husband and I, and went for the test. At this juncture, I would also talk about the reason I failed the test the first time. So we had left the registry. The instructor was sitting just right beside me, and everything was going on well till we got to a right turn on a red traffic signal. The rule in Canada is when you're taking a right on red, so a right turn on a red light, you make a complete stop, check if there is incoming vehicle, if there's a vehicle coming. If you see any vehicle coming, then that vehicle has the right of way. You let the vehicle leave, and when everywhere is clear and good, you can take your right turn. But you must make a complete stop, and then you must watch out for vehicles that have the right of way. I approached the red light. I made the complete stop. I watched to my left. There were two vehicles coming really closely. I let those vehicles go. There was a third vehicle that was far off, and then immediately the two vehicles left. I had made my complete stop, obviously, and then I put my signal on and I turned right on red. However, the instructor at the end of the test failed me, and that was the only reason why he failed me. In his words, he said that my judgment of entering the road at that time was a poor judgment. In his opinion, there was a third car coming and I did not let the car go. I explained to him that I could make that turn without impeding the right of way of that car, but he agreed otherwise. So it was his judgment over mine, and obviously in this kind of situation he would win, but it was a critical error in their books, and so he had to fail me, and I felt so bad. And something my husband said that made sense to me was that so long as you have made your complete stop and you can see a vehicle coming on your left and you want to turn right, just wait, let all the vehicles be clear. So long as you are seeing a vehicle, don't make that right turn. But if you are not seeing any vehicle, then you can make the turn. That's something I took away from that entire scenario. And even now that I drive, I've gotten my license and I drive, I use that same rule. So long as I can see the vehicle, I'm not moving, because you have the right of way. From the registry there, I started booking for the next available date. I took my test. It was a lady this time. Everything was good. Thanks be to God. There was no critical error. And yes, I passed my test. Immediately I passed, I was so excited, got back into the registry, and then I had to pay for my class 5. Took the vision test again. So you have the opportunity to either take a new photograph, which I opted out of. The only thing I did was sign again, and made the payment. There is no shortcuts to passing the road test. You really literally have to put in the work, put in the practice, keep revising. But I'm happy that it's a thing of the past and we can just talk about it now. Those are the strategies I took. Like I said, I'm going to leave all the resources I used as much as I can link in my description. I'm going to link it for you. They are so useful, especially Zutobi driver's ed, really useful. The Alberta province driver's guide, so useful as well, and a host of other resources that I found really useful and that I still make reference to even nowadays, just to be abreast with everything in it. And yes, once you begin to drive, you will see why it's important to go through this phase. It's important you go through this process. It's important you you take safety really seriously, because lives are involved, properties are involved, and it's important we learn the ropes. Let me know if you have questions for me concerning this topic. I really hope that I have touched on all the areas I should touch on. And yes, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys. Questions are answers were the and however, the traffic light on that Jesus.